Hi, welcome to Something to Say. I'm Claire and I am a survivor of sexual violence. This is an uplifting platform to discuss the things that come with daily life after trauma and how to work through them in a positive way. I do want to mention that there could be some triggers in this video, so if you feel like today is maybe not the day that you want to dive into these topics, I would recommend maybe taking a walk, doing some journaling, some meditation, or whatever normally helps you. If not, I am excited to get going. I have something to say about triggers today. Before I get going, I want to say thank you to everyone who has sent me positive messages. It's really nerve-wracking to put your personal information on a public platform, so truly you have made my week, and I am so thrilled with the things that you guys have been saying. Thank you. Alright, let's talk about triggers. I wish we had time to talk about all my triggers because I have a lot. The worst part about having triggers is discovering what they are. Until then, you think that you're just going along and everything is smooth sailing until you get triggered for the first time, and all of a sudden you don't know where it's coming from, and maybe you do, but you didn't realize that that was something that was going to affect you, and all of a sudden the whole dynamic of your day and that moment can be shifted for in a negative way. So I do want to say triggers are not necessarily always related to violence. They definitely can be related to depression, anxiety, whatever else may be going on with you. So this is really a video for anyone because we all have things that trigger us. My triggers I like to categorize into two columns. It's going to be the sensory and the interpersonal. So sensory triggers for me are touch, smell, taste, sound, and those are a little bit easier for me to deal with because it's more internal. So, for example, one of my triggers is a rap song, and as you can imagine, I am a college student and I hear this song a lot in public places. The first time I heard it, I was at a party and I just got out as soon as I could. I felt nauseous, I felt overwhelmed, and I just was so irritated because I was like, this has power over my entire night, and now my plans are just ruined, and I'm never going to be able to live a normal life, da da da, boo hoo. And I don't mean to make a mockery of triggers because in that moment, it was as real as it could be. I'm really just mocking myself, but it is really painful, and it's something that I felt like I was never, ever going to be able to get a handle on, and sometimes I still don't. But with that song, so I started doing this tactic where so everyone's dancing, it's a rap song, so people are like twerking around me, and I'm just singing in my head, the itsy bitsy spider and up the spider spout. And so like I'm literally just dancing like with everyone else, singing a nursery rhyme in my head because I'm not gonna let that affect the way that I'm planning my night. By the time I think about that, it's over, and then ironically, sometimes I actually feel better after that because I feel really proud of myself for not letting that overcome my entire body and put me in a state of panic. Another one that I have that I've been able to kind of get a handle on is when I get a really bad sunburn, because I used to have scars on my face and that skin is still a little bit more sensitive. So when I get a sunburn, it really brings out the scars from when I was assaulted. And it's physically very painful, and two, it's very painful to look at because it's very hard for me to see myself with those scars and then know that someone in my life knew that they were inflicting that pain on me, and they didn't care and they had no remorse. And this is sick to say, and the fact that they had enjoyment out of it. So that's something that's really, really hard for me to look at. So what do? I wear ton of sunscreen. Because I'm not going to stop going to the pool. I'm not going to stop doing the things that I enjoy because I feel like those people are always present with me. So, to kind of get them out of my mind, I do precautionary measures. And sometimes I get irritated because it's like, why am I tailoring my life to feel safe when I'm not the one that inflicted any pain on anyone? But once I kind of put my pride aside and realize that that's just how I'm going to deal with this situation, either I'm going to deal with it or it's going to affect me. And one of the outcomes is better than the other. So why would I not put in the small extra effort to just handle it instead of feeling miserable and feeling totally defeated by it? Um, so that's two examples of my sensory issues. And then my interpersonal, this one's a little bit harder for me because those things I can handle inside, internally. But with interpersonal, it's really difficult to continue a conversation after you've been triggered like that. So, for example, I work in customer service, and I have a lot of people that like to be jovial and like to be friendly, and they'll touch me in a friendly way, and it makes me tense in my whole body. I feel defensive. I don't want to be there. I want to crawl into the back. Um, so when I'm working, I have to deal with it in a professional way, and that can be challenging because I really just want to scream at them and say, get your hands off me. But instead, I have to say, let me help you with that. And so sometimes I'll just go and help another customer while still being friendly to the original customer. Sometimes I just have to talk myself down from it. But it depends on the situation. Now, when I'm out with my friends, maybe at night or whatever we're doing, and someone's touching me, I handle that a little bit differently. First, I know that I'm hypersensitive to touch, so I try to make sure that I don't accuse anyone of anything if they didn't mean it, because I know that I'm hypersensitive. So I kind of feel out the situation and see if I think that there really is malintent. And if there is, I have no problem saying, get your hands off me. I don't want to be touched. And it took me a very long time to be able to say those words, because I had a fear that if I reacted that way, that the people around me would think, what's wrong with her? Why is she being so dramatic? Why is she causing a scene? But it's to the point now where it's like, if people think that I'm causing a scene because I'm setting boundaries for myself, then maybe those aren't the people that I want to be surrounding myself with. And time will tell if they will stand by me doing what I'm comfortable with. And no one is worth keeping around that doesn't accept you setting boundaries for yourself and encourage you to feel safe wherever you are. Of course, not everyone has bad intentions. So if someone is touching me and I feel uncomfortable and I'm maybe at a bar or whatever, I'll just, move to another table or say, haha, like, stop, which I'm hesitant to encourage doing that because I think that sometimes victims can brush things off because they're used to being in that like submissive state. So I don't encourage anyone to just make a joke about it if they really feel like they're in danger. But if you want to just kind of like, if it, like, let's say if it's your friend, someone you're friendly with, and you know that you're not in a dangerous situation, I think it's okay to kind of like take a step back and be like, oh, no thanks, I don't want to be touched like that, but you don't necessarily have to get upset with them. One last trigger of mine that I want to discuss is jokes about PTSD or whatever mental illness you may be suffering from. It's very common to hear jokes about PTSD, so this one is definitely something that happens often for me. I've had PTSD for almost 10 years, and although it doesn't have as much of an impact on my life today, it still does, and it has caused me a lot of pain in the past. So when I hear people making jokes about, oh, haha, like that class gave me PTSD, or I have PTSD from eating so many nachos and feeling sick, like, no, you don't. It just, oh, it bothers me so much because it's like you don't even know what it's like to have PTSD, and maybe you do, and if you're making a joke about it, that's not funny. Um, with that being said, I think that it's really common to hear jokes like that, especially with like Twitter culture and being making depression seem cool. So although that may be a pet peeve for me, I know that it's not coming out of a bad place. And I mean, most of the time when I hear these things, it's from my friends, and I know that they love me. So I need to make sure that I know not to take that stuff personally, and it's really not a battle that I'm willing to fight. It's not something that I want to really bring up just because I know the person who's making those jokes is not thinking about it that way. So, like, why am I putting in all the extra energy to cause a conflict when they don't even realize the gravity of the joke? So that's something that I just deal with on my own, and I normally don't really say anything because it's really just not worth it. And most of the time, I know for a fact that the person doesn't mean it. So for me, that's just not taking things personally. And not feeling like I'm the victim of every situation, which I think is common after experiencing trauma, to see yourself as the victim in every situation. Those are just general examples, but I do want to talk about things in daily life that I do to maintain my serenity, maintain my peace, and keep myself grounded throughout these little triggers. Something that I used to do, and I should probably start doing again, is having a journal with a stream of consciousness. So, what that means is whenever I had an interaction with someone or a thought that I felt like was kind of like a dangerous thought, I would write down, I'm feeling this way because this happened, and I'm dealing with it this way. And then I would even write down, am I satisfied with the way that I dealt with it, or am I not? And how can I do better next time? How can I be more discerning in my reaction and feel ultimately safer? So a stream of consciousness journal, grounding techniques, they're so simple, but they're so effective. Saying, okay, today, if you feel unsafe, this is something that my mom taught me. Okay, it's September 22nd. I am safe. I am not around people that want to hurt me. I am not around whatever trauma that I am thinking of. I am wearing a yellow shirt. I have a butterfly tattoo. Like just saying facts in that moment that keep you present and keep you grounded. It can be the silliest thing, like, okay, I'm wearing a necklace and I'm safe. you know, it's Sunday and I'm safe. Whatever keeps you in that mindset of security and doesn't let you spiral. Another thing that I do is if I'm having a trigger that's related to my childhood experiences, I think about my younger self, and then I think about my current self, giving her a hug and giving her the resources that she needs to overcome whatever she's going through. Because every single one of us has tools today that we didn't have in our childhood. No matter what your situation is, we're constantly evolving and constantly progressing. So that is really helpful for me because it makes me feel like I'm tending to the wounds that I didn't deal with as a child, but it also reminds me that I am so much more than those wounds and those memories, and I did overcome that, and I didn't even have the resources that I have now. So it's healing, but it's also really encouraging because, um, I did that, and I'm here now, and I'm proud of myself, and it's amazing. Okay, I wanted to use this trigger episode as a segue into a segment I want to do about the medical aspects of trauma, whether that be taking medication, going through treatment, and how to deal with the institutions that provide those resources. So next time I'm going to be talking about that, and I really appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, reach out to me. My email is below, and I would love to keep having a conversation with you guys. Thank you so much.